Hi guys, what's up? It's Savannah. Welcome back to another episode of My Thoughts Exactly. I am so happy that you are here today. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's episode is a very exciting one. I'm excited to talk about it today because I feel like it is such a, let's just put it this way. I'll take any excuse to talk about a new beginning, a new chapter. I'll wake up on a Monday and be like, it's a new week. It's just, new me. I'll take any excuse to feel like that. So when there's actually some sort of kind of like monumental, significant time that's happening where I can justify using that excuse without people looking at me like I'm a little bit loony, then I will absolutely take it. So as you guys can tell by the title of this episode, we are talking about spring cleaning today. And when I say spring cleaning, you guys are probably thinking, Savannah, why are we going to be talking about cleaning the windows, mopping the floors, doing the laundry? No. I thought because yesterday, for me, it was yesterday. When you guys hear this, it's going to be a couple days afterwards. March 20th was the official first day of spring. It was this past Monday. So I thought, what better way to celebrate the coming of the new season than talking about ways that we can really spring clean our lives, spring clean our minds, just really set ourselves up for success. And I want to talk about ways that I'm going to be spring cleaning that don't include, the day-to-day cleaning the countertops, floors, things like that. I'm not talking about that today. And might I just add that I was so shocked when I heard that it was the first day of spring yesterday in Nashville right now. I feel like I always mention the weather in the beginning of every episode, but in Nashville right now, it's been in the high 30s. Low 40s for the past couple days. We've been on a freeze watch. It's been below freezing temperatures. It was flurrying the other day. So when I talked to my mom yesterday and she told me that it was the first day of spring, I thought she was crazy. But then I looked it up and she was right. So you guys have probably heard, maybe not, about the term spring cleaning. A lot of people use it when talking about this time of the year. You're getting out of winter, summer is around the corner, and it's a time to declutter your life, declutter your house, get everything back in order, organize. Everyone does it differently. I decided to actually look up the meaning of spring cleaning, and I found that spring cleaning symbolizes, which this is from allergystandards.com. So that is my source. Spring cleaning symbolizes a new beginning, a chance to clear away not only physical clutter, but also make a cleansing of the mind or any regrets or mistakes. And when I saw that, I really resonated with it, and it connected a lot to me, a lot more than your typical standard spring cleaning, tidying up around the house does, because I think it's such an important and pivotal moment where, again, I will take any excuse to say that this is a new chapter, or I'm turning a new leaf, or I'm becoming a new person. It's just another time in our lives where we get the opportunity to grow and evolve, and also set ourselves up for success in what we're surrounding ourselves with, who we're surrounding ourselves with, what we're listening to, what we're consuming, everything. It's so important. And when learning that the first day of spring was yesterday, it just reminded me how important it is to always have those check-ins with yourself. And it doesn't have to be any specific or particular reason. It can be, it doesn't have to just be for spring. Obviously, it could be on a random Tuesday in August, and you decide that you want to just have a mental check-in with yourself and ask yourself if what you're surrounding yourself with is serving you, if who you're surrounding yourself with is serving you, or are you surrounding yourself with negative people that are toxic, people that are bringing you down, people that don't really add a lot of substance to your life. And that's not to say that as a diss or to say that in a negative way, but it's important to ask yourself if you are surrounding yourself with things, people that make you happy, that make you feel like your best self, that challenge you. That I think is really really crucial and really important, especially in a world now where everything is so solely focused on social media. I think it's really important to check in with yourself and see what you are consuming. Because, I think everyone's guilty of just sitting there on your phones, scrolling, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. I mean, we just sit there and we aimlessly scroll. And that's not me sitting here telling you need to subscribe or follow, psychological or academic websites that'll like give you education or tips and tricks or whatever, but just making sure that your circle, whatever is in your circle, is serving you in a positive way. I know for me, a lot of times I look at the things that I'm seeing on social media and I'm like, why am I consuming this? Why am I watching this? Why am I putting these thoughts in my brain? And it's important to take a step back and to remind yourself that you are in control of who remains in your life, who you follow, and this is obviously social media, but also real world too. And a lot of that also falls into the concept of decluttering. And, we talk about decluttering in a physical sense, like decluttering your house, organizing, things like that. But I think it's also equally, if not more important, to also do a declutter of your mind and who you're allowing into your circle, whether that's social or real life, cutting people off that are no longer serving you. And, this is the perfect time to cue last week's episode of being a people pleaser. I feel like I personally am really guilty of this. I will keep people around or keep people in my life that really don't serve me any good. Not necessarily, in my real life, because I feel like that's more controllable. But when it comes to social media, like what I'm consuming or the people that I'm following, sometimes I feel bad in a sense to unfollow because I don't want to step on any toes or hurt any feelings. But if it's not serving me in the way that I need it to in order for me to evolve as a human and a person in this chapter of my life, then what really is the point? And you could look at that totally and say, Savannah, it's really not that deep, which it's not that deep. It really doesn't have to be that deep. But because I'm a people pleaser and because I don't want to make anyone mad, I make it that deep for myself. I literally always have this conversation with Hayden whenever I have to like say no to someone or let someone down in the sense of like not do something that they want me to do. I always make it such a bigger deal because I just don't want them to have hurt feelings over it. When in reality, again, this is all in last week's episode and we're getting too much into that right now, but it doesn't have to be that deep. It can simply just be like, this person is no longer serving me and I'm going to remove them from my circle and my life. And it doesn't have to be a big deal, and it can be very refreshing. And if you don't want to do that and you want to keep whatever circle you have consistent, then you get to do that too. It's all up to you. It's all in your control. But I know personally for me, sometimes I look at the things that I'm consuming on social media and it brings me down more than it brings me any peace or joy or happiness. I love a good funny TikTok here and there, but at the end of the day, sometimes I see something and I'm like, is this really doing anything for me? And the answer to that is typically no, it is not. And again, that's okay because it's not, not everyone is there for you. Like the world doesn't revolve around you and your needs for what you're consuming on a daily basis from a social standpoint. But at the end of the day, also the beauty in that is that you get to choose what stays and what goes. Because you have to think about it, right? Like this all falls into your energy, like what you're consuming, who you're surrounding yourself with, the space in which you're living. It all falls down and contributes to your energy. And there's not a lot we can control in this world, but the things that we can control are what I just mentioned, which is your space and how you present that for yourself. It's who you surround yourself with, what you're consuming online, TV shows, things like that. Those are all things that you can control that contribute to your energy and how you show up for people. And even bigger than that, how you show up for yourself. Because I think a big part of the spring cleaning process is really rejuvenating yourself. And I think personally for me, like that's kind of my favorite part in it. Like that's the beauty in it for me, is you can really just organize your life, organize your mental, and become a more rejuvenated person again and get that energy back in place that serves you the best, so that way you can present yourself as the best version of yourself. And so now I'm going to run you through the ways that I am going to be spring cleaning not just my house but my mental, and hopefully you guys get something out of it, some tips or tricks. And I also have some responses from you guys as well that we're going to go through today. And as always, if you're not following the My Thoughts Exactly Instagram page, I highly recommend that you do. I was on live earlier today talking to you guys. I also asked you guys a question about spring cleaning, and you guys gave me what you're doing to help spring clean your vibe and your energy. So make sure you go and follow that. That way you never miss an upcoming series where I reach out to you guys and ask questions, and you can also be involved in the episodes. Okay, so my list consists of things that have to do with my house, but also have to do with my mind as well. So the first thing that I like to do in my spring cleaning process is to sage my home. I know for some people this isn't their thing, which is totally fine, but I think that there is something so cleansing about that. I think that there is something that just resets the vibe, and I really enjoy it. I've done it with every house that I've moved into, and I like to do it like 1 to 2 times a year. I don't make it like a thing. Like it's not like a weird, like I don't do something weird with it. I just light sage and I just walk it around my home, and it's nice and it's relaxing. I also love the smell. I think the smell is amazing. So why wouldn't I do it? So to me, saging my home is the first thing that I like to do during my spring cleaning. And after I sage my home, I also like to deep clean my house. I am a cleaner. I love to clean. I think I probably do a pretty good deep clean of my home like once a week, but a spring clean is different than a deep clean. Like a spring clean is like you're getting in the places that you didn't even know existed in your home. And so I like to do a spring deep clean once a year, but then I do a normal deep clean like every week. So don't get it twisted, but it's really important, I think, to just have a total reset. They always say, and we've talked about it before, I don't know exactly what the proper saying is, but it's like when your home's a mess, your mind's a mess, like something like that. And I'm not talking like, a little clutter here and there. You guys get what I'm saying. But I think it's really, really important to just deep clean your space. And while you are deep cleaning your space, I think it is equally as important to get rid of all of the junk, all of the clutter. I go through my house. Sometimes I'm like, what is this? Like, where did this come from? Where did I buy this? I just like to get rid of everything. And I go through phases because I'm such a shopaholic. I truly believe that like I resort to retail therapy more than anything, but that's a topic for a different episode. But when I have all of this shit everywhere, it just makes my mind feel cluttered. And I don't want like a minimalist Kim Kardashian house. I really, really don't. But I just like things to be organized. And when there's a lot of clutter everywhere, a lot of little like knickknacks that I don't know where they came from, and I'm like, what is that? It's gotta go. It's got to go. So I highly recommend a deep clean, a sage, and a declutter. Like that's the 3 first things that I like to do. Now the 4th one, this is so important for me, is mood lighting and candles. This sets the vibe, which I feel like is a no-duh. Like everyone knows this. But I mean, for a long time, and I'm like almost, I don't know, I'm embarrassed to say this. Like I used to love bright overhead lights. Like that was my thing. Whenever anyone came over, I had all the lights on because I didn't like being in darkness. But I'm now learning that there is a happy medium, and the happy medium I enjoy so much more. It's relaxing. It sets a tone. And I love having a bunch of candles everywhere. I love the house smelling good. I love having a fire going, whether that's indoors or outdoors. I love, any sort of mood lighting. I think I talked to you guys about this before, that for my bedroom, I recently got the lights that change a bunch of different colors, and I'm obsessed with it because it's so much, because again, it just sets the tone, I feel like I can have a purple room, or I can have a blue room, or I can have a green room, or I can have, any color room that I want. I can have dependent on my mood. And a lot of those different colors also have a lot of benefits. So I encourage you to look those up if you are into like the whole mood lighting thing. But honestly, it has created such an enjoyable experience, and it just makes the bedtime routine a little bit more relaxing, and it's fun. I don't know why, it's just fun, and I highly recommend it. So mood lighting and candles, it sets the tone, it sets the vibe. Highly recommend. Okay, so this next little note falls into the cleaning segment of everything, and that is getting rid of anything in your home that doesn't bring you happiness when you look at it. I have things in my house, like I need to declutter my office because I'm looking around right now. I have things in here that I look at it and I'm like, it needs to go. Now, my personal outlook on houses and homes, apartments, tents, wherever you live, is that it's your safe space. It should be your haven. It should be you in a nutshell. And if there's anything in there that doesn't fully embody you and something that you don't feel connected to, something that doesn't resemble you in some way, something that's just like sitting there and is just kind of empty space, if that makes like it's just taking up space, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Okay, this is a big one. This next one is decluttering the closet. If you are like me and you have a bunch of clothes, because I know that in those comments that you guys left as to how you guys are going to be spring cleaning, a lot of you mentioned this as well. You guys were saying that you have a bunch of clothes and you just need to stop buying more clothes because you buy more clothes and they don't fit in your closet. And it's like this whole cycle. I am the same exact way. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a big fan of retail therapy, but my thing is like I'll keep things in my closet and I won't wear them. Like I will never wear them, but I'll be like, oh, I'm going to save this for like a rainy day. If there's anything in your closet that you're saving for a rainy day, I just think you need to get rid of it. Like for me personally, I know that I have like my 10 set like pieces in my closet that are always my go-to. Like if I'm going out with friends, I know what I'm wearing in my head because I've worn it 17 times before. Or if I'm going, to go out on a date with Hayden, like I know what I'm wearing because I've worn it before. Like the things in my closet I just don't reach for, it needs to go. It just needs to go. Again, it's just taking up space and it just doesn't need to be there. Similar to the knickknacks we were talking about earlier, I think that the closet, just when you have an excess amount of clothes, it's lovely and it's great. But a lot of times, like I have clothes in there from when I was in college and I'm like, I'm never going to wear this again. But I'm the type that I'm a hoarder when it comes to clothes. Like I don't like getting rid of my clothes. I don't know why. It's like the one thing, clothes and shoes. I'm like, I can't get rid of them. Shoes, not as much, but clothes, I'm like, well, what if I want to wear this one day? If I haven't worn it in 8 months, I'm not going to wear it again. I have things in my closet that I've had for years that I've never worn. Maybe one day we'll do a closet cleaning video because I think I did that actually a couple years ago. I did a closet cleaning video and it was like I got rid of so much shit. And I love when I declutter. I love when I get rid of shit. I love when I get rid of my clothes because I'm like, I get to donate them to people who actually like want them and use them and cherish them. And for me, it's like, again, I feel like it's just taking up space for something that could be more meaningful for me, something that could be more useful. And so I think getting rid of what I'm not wearing, why am I keeping things in there that are just useless to me? It just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And when I do clean my closet and I get rid of things, it just feels so much more fresh. It feels like I'm starting a new era and it makes room for more clothes. So that's where we're at. Okay, the next point I have on here is, like I mentioned earlier, so I won't go too deep into it, but again, going through your social media, seeing who you're following, seeing what you're consuming, you never know. Like I know what I'm like kind of like going over it over and over again in this episode, but until you really do it and look at who you're following, sometimes you will surprise yourself. Also, okay, this is one that me and my friends were talking about. This wasn't on my list, but this is one that I've just kind of thought of on the spot right now due to this specific topic. I don't know if a lot of you, I'm sure some of you do. Me and my friends are not the only people to do this, having Finstas and like looking at people and stalking them when you don't want to look at them on your real account. Just delete it. Like just delete it. It's not serving you anything. I was having this conversation with one of my really good friends the other day about like, if we're going to watch something, if I'm going to watch a story, I'm going to do it with my chest. Okay. And I think that that's just really important. And I'm very much calling myself out right now as I'm saying this. But again, I just think it's important to, be very intentional. Just be intentional, whether that means deleting the Finsta or not. Okay, this next one, segueing out of that very quickly, is this is what I wrote. Spring is the start of a new season. Start it off fresh with who you're surrounding yourself with. Let go of toxic friends or relationships. If you needed a reason or a sign to do it, this is it. Sometimes it's easy to get comfortable with our day-to-day consumptions, but it's important to take a step back and ask if it is serving you. So if you are in a toxic cycle, whether that's with friendships, relationships, coworkers, whatever it is, whatever that toxic cycle looks like for you. And if you're just waiting for I just need a reason, let spring be your reason. Let the spring cleaning be the reason. It doesn't have to be the best reason, but it is reason enough. You are the people you surround yourself with. And if you are being surrounded by people who aren't making you happy, who aren't lifting you up, and part of the reason I'm emphasizing this so much is because I know that we've talked about it so much in the past, looking at your questions from What Would Sav Do videos and episodes where you guys have talked about wanting to, leave a relationship, but not knowing how, or wanting to get out of a friendship because it's toxic and you feel like you're in a competition or you're being put down constantly and you don't know how to stand up for yourself. Take a step back and realize that if something is no longer serving you, if a relationship or friendship is no longer serving you, no matter how long that relationship or friendship has existed, it is always okay to choose yourself and to walk away for the betterment of your mental health, for the betterment of your sanity, for all of it. It is always okay to choose yourself and to walk away from things that are no longer serving you. And if you're anything like me, sometimes I have a really hard time with that because if it was serving me at one point and it's not serving me now, sometimes I feel like, oh, well, it'll get better. Oh, well, it needs more time, or, oh, we're just in a rut. But at the end of the day, if this is a consistent feeling that you've been having, it is more than okay to walk away. Sometimes that's the best thing that you can do for yourself, even though it's the hardest thing sometimes to do. I feel like a lot of times we say we're not happy and that needs to come with a reason. Like, well, why aren't you happy? It's just, I'm not happy. And if you're not happy, that's a good enough reason. Okay. And then this last one I have is kind of silly and is kind of out of place for this whole spring cleaning thing. But I just think it's really important to declutter embarrassment and to declutter regret. And the reason I say this is because I had a moment recently where I felt a lot of embarrassment and just kind of like, basically I don't need to get into it, but what I will say is that I was in a situation and I just felt like I was too vulnerable, too open, and I felt like kind of icky afterwards. Like I just felt, I didn't like that. I shouldn't have done it. And honestly, you guys, for the past couple of days, I've been spiraling about it. I've been so embarrassed and I've been so just kind of like regretful of my actions and my decisions and not knowing how, the other people around me took it at the time. And what I'm learning is that embarrassment only exists if you allow it to. And I saw a TikTok about that a couple weeks ago where this girl was like, I don't get embarrassed because the only way I would get embarrassed is if I allow myself to get embarrassed, and I just don't. I don't allow myself to get embarrassed. And I started thinking about that, and it's so true because I think oftentimes, especially as someone with anxiety who overthinks, who replays things in my head over and over and over to make sure that it came out right and I sounded right when I said something and all of these different things, sometimes it's really hard to like have that feeling of, okay, I said the right thing. 9 times out of 10, I feel like I screwed up. I said the wrong thing. I didn't articulate my point or my message across the way that I wanted to, and I feel embarrassment, I feel regret, and I let myself kind of spiral about it until the next thing happens that gives me the same amount of regret or embarrassment. But at the end of the day, what I reminded myself was, Savannah, I was in a safe space with people that are my friends. It's okay. It's okay. And I don't have to be embarrassed because embarrassment only exists if I allow it to, and I'm not allowing it to. And so something I'm getting rid of is embarrassment and regret, because I just think that those are two emotions and feelings that don't need to exist. Like, why does anyone need to feel embarrassed? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. I just feel like maybe I'm just trying to make myself feel better here, but I just feel like embarrassment shouldn't exist. So that is what I'm decluttering in my spring cleaning. So now we're going to move on to what you guys have been decluttering in your spring cleaning so we can stop talking about my embarrassing moment. Okay? Okay. You guys actually had a lot of really good things to say, and so I'm excited to go through them with you. So the first thing that you guys said you are decluttering is my closet. I can't even fit anything in my closet anymore, but I keep buying. That is quite literally what we talked about earlier, and I am the same way. So I need to declutter. I need to get rid of things. Next one is deleting people on social media. We've also talked about that a lot, so I get that. Another one, bedroom refresh, new plants, decor, bedding, new storage for makeup and beauty products. I love this. I love redecorating my room or reorganizing my house, like moving furniture around and gives it a new vibe. It gives it a new energy for the space. I think it's really, really great, and it costs zero money. Like, you don't have to go out and buy new furniture. You get to just like kind of recreate your room as it is. And I think it's so fun. And again, as I was saying, your room, your house, whatever that looks like for you, should be your safe space, should be your haven. So whatever's going to make you feel the most comfortable, whatever's going to make you feel the happiest when you're in that space, I think, within those means, whatever those are, like, you should totally do it. This one I really, really love. It says, I'm decluttering my room. I love changing my bedding for the new season. And also I love fake candles. Okay, so the only times that I change my bedding, and it makes me so excited, is during Christmas time. I bring out like my Christmas quilt and I put on like Christmas sheets or wherever. And it just sets such a fun tone for the season. But I love having the idea of doing that every season. I think that would be so fun. Or like a couple times a year, just like tossing on new sheets here and there. I think that would be really, really fun. I might do the exact same thing. You might have just given me an idea, because it just, again, changes the tone, freshens things up, livens things up, switches it up a little, gets you excited. It's the little things, you guys. I'm telling you, it's always the little things that you can do to make yourself feel just like a little bit more excited about life. And I feel like, we talked about this in the very second episode of My Thoughts Exactly, of romanticizing your life, bringing in the things that give you joy, the little things, doing your full-time skincare routine, making your favorite breakfast in the morning, or changing your bedroom sheets to make you just a little bit happier. I think that's amazing. Then we have this one. I am decluttering bad decisions. Okay, that falls into my embarrassment and regret. Okay, because yes, you should declutter bad decisions when they're like, there's a line, and we all know where that line is. We all know that line exists. So maybe don't cross that line. But if you're not crossing that line, then no embarrassment, no regret. My room and probably my closet, but I'm too lazy. Okay. I feel that because I'm someone who puts things off. I'm like, oh, I'll get to that eventually. Or like, oh, like, yeah, I'll do it eventually. And then one day I'm like, okay, I need to do it. So maybe just like picture how good it would feel after you did it. And maybe that will give you a little bit of motivation to do it. Whatever gives you the motivation, maybe have a little glass of wine while you're doing it. Make it like an experience. Make it fun. Like play your favorite show. For me, that would be Judge Judy, or like something where it's just, exciting. Something that gets, so it doesn't feel like such a chore, because I feel like a lot of times when people think of cleaning or spring cleaning, it's like, ugh, I don't want to do that, but think about it as I get to do it. Think about it as a new perspective. Think about it in a bunch of different ways where you will feel so much better afterwards. And again, you can make it like a fun and exciting thing. It doesn't have to be a chore. There is a fun way to do it. So the next one we have is I am decluttering my mental intake, which I feel like that falls into the category of the social media decluttering and the relationship and friendship decluttering, because as I mentioned earlier, there isn't a lot of things that we have control of in the world and in our lives, but something we do have control of is what we are consuming and what we're not consuming, whether that just consists of deleting the apps completely or whether that consists of unfollowing certain people. For different people, it's going to look different. It's, that's not going to be a linear thing or something that is a one-size-fits-all solution for everyone. But if you're aware of what you're consuming, you're aware of what's good for you and what's not, and removing the things that aren't serving you, I think that that's the best way to go about it. Next one is I'm spring cleaning my energy, my productivity, and my soul. I freaking love that. That's basically been the entire premise of this episode, is talking about spring cleaning your house, your energy, your vibe, all of it. And everyone, like I said, it's going to look so different for everyone. You know, sometimes for one person, it's going to be deep cleaning top to bottom, their house, front to back, up and down, you know, the whole thing. For some people, it's just going to be a little bit here and there, or their room or their nightstand, whatever it is, you know. I think just being mindful of the little things that you can do to show yourself a little bit more love and to be a little bit more gentle with yourself and to, you know, set yourself up for success, because life is hard, the world is hard, and whatever you can do to make it a little easier on yourself and to remove the negativity in your life, I am all for, and I'll always be an advocate for. And like I mentioned in the beginning, I'm someone who will always look for any excuse to say that I'm turning a new leaf, or I'm starting a new chapter, or give myself a reason to, you know, feel like I am becoming a new person. And it doesn't always have to be that, you know, that deep or that, you know, that big of a deal. But I do think if you can do little things for yourself here and there, just to make yourself feel good and just to make yourself happy, and to make yourself feel like you're in a safe space, and to just look out for yourself. You're there when you put your head on your pillow at night. You're there when you're looking in the mirror at the end of the day. You know, all of the things that you can do to just help yourself a little bit and make life a little bit more enjoyable and a little bit more easy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And with that being said, you guys, that's all for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of My Thoughts Exactly. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be back next week with a brand new one for you guys. But until then, let me know what you were spring cleaning from your life. Let me know what you were decluttering. Let me know what you're getting rid of. I can't wait to hear it. I'll be back next week with a brand new one, and I can't wait to see you there. Bye, guys.